What is up, everyone? Train Freak here, and today we've got a layout update. And it looks like we got a train coming. I'm curious to see what this one could be. It looks like a high-nose type locomotive, Black Widow. Oh, that's my GP9. How about that? And it looks like it's pulling some cattle cars, so this must be a cattle train. And we might hear a cow moo here and there. So, like I said, this week is layout update. But before we get to that, always want to remind everyone that on Sundays at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, we have Sidetrack Sunday. And this week it will be on my channel. Tonight, I think we're going to talk about maybe signals and signaling, how it works. And just kind of go over the basics, so that way for those who are looking into doing some type of signaling on their layout at one point or another, this would be a good intro for you on that. So, layout update, the only thing I pretty much really worked on this week is the area where the community barn is, or you could call it, as Lynn McCurdy called it, a barn raising in Patreon. But I went ahead and painted the base coat on, the hills behind it, and I did give it some good colors. So we gave it some colors of spray paint, the 3 different colors that I will show you in a minute, and we did give it a good flocking with just regular flock and some underbrush and bushes as well. So let's get to the layout update and we'll go from there. So be right back. Alright, so I got the barn put back in place. It's not wired up, so it's during the daytime, so we don't have the lights on. But I went ahead and flocked this whole area. Now, I left some of this open, like right in here, and I kind of gave it a little open there because that's actually going to be a little bit, I'll put in a road, and then I can always come back and add more flock to this later. But back over there by the GP9, we're going to put in a cantilever signal. I've got that ordered in. It might take a few weeks to get here, possibly a couple of months. Because the guy who custom makes these is a little behind schedule. And the cantilever itself is 3D printed, and he has a guy in the UK that is printing these for him. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit for those to get in. The other signal I've got ordered in for this little X mark here is going to be a double-headed searchlight style signal. The signals that are going to go on the cantilever for the trains to see coming from the opposite direction are just going to be single-headed. So the operator's not really going to be able to see those signals, but when we use either the GoPro or the spy camera locomotive, we will be able to see those signals. So I've got those ordered. They'll come in eventually. But I wanted to go ahead and get all of this, mainly the hills back there, Scenic. And, we're going to have kind of some parking area around here. And then back that way, we'll have a road go behind Riceland. And like I said, the only other thing we'd have here, because we're putting in the cantilever, I'm going to put in a little dirt road here for the signal crew to be able to get back there. And so I might go ahead and leave this kind of open too, so that way they can access the turnout. So that way they can do maintenance on it. As far as what I'm going to do here, I have not decided yet. That's going to come later. I'm just trying to work my way from the back to the front. And I know this is kind of back here, so I will have to start figuring out what I'm going to do between the Alco RS1 and Gamer and Thrones, because that's probably going to be the next section that I start working on. As far as over here, where you can see where the paint ends and we got the beginning of Riceland, that direction I'm not focused on right now because the layout doesn't get any wider there. So from here, this way is the primary focus. Alright, so how did I go about putting all of these colors in. I do have a live stream video, which I'll put a card up in the corner, where I actually did this method, but back over there in the back corner. So, same method. You know, you put down one base coat of this is PPG paint, and the color code is called Pony Tail. I did get that answer from my buddy Craig. So get that coat on there, let it dry, and then go with the second coat. While the second coat is still wet, we're going to spray some different colors of spray paint. And depending on where you're at, it's going to depend on the colors that you're trying to mock. And you only kind of want these on your hillsides. You don't necessarily want these, you know, straight on the top, but more or less on the sides, especially if they cut part of the hill out. Because if you look at my backdrop, you can see that red clay color, and yeah, you can see a little bitty blunder there, but that's where I got some plaster on the backdrop, and I tried wiping it off, and I was more or less wiping the ink off. So, but we'll be able to hide that with a few trees, and that's going to be farther back. So like if I get way over here, you really don't see it. So once I add some trees there, it'll be fine. So, colors. Let's slide over here in front of Rustoleum because I've got my stuff set up. Alright, so this is all Rustoleum, and these are all satin. Nutmeg, coastal gray, cinnamon. Now, if you do not have like the clay deposits like we do in the south, you don't need that color. Just stick with these two here. But if you want to mimic some of that clay deposit, that cinnamon really does the touch. Alright, and then you're going to just spray paint little spray dots, so like, you know, and just pretty much leave it like that. You're not trying to get a big, you know, covering while the paint is still wet is when you want to apply these spray paint colors, okay? Now, as soon as you apply your spray paint, start flocking, because that's going to stick into the wet paint. You can go ahead and start adding bushes, underbrush, and I even like to add this stuff here for mainly the brown texture, but I think this is pretty much the same as that. But it's a shade lighter, it's just a hair lighter, so it gives like an extra color. And then it's got all this brown stuff in with it too. So, and this is Scenic Express, these four of course are Woodland Scenics. So, do it all while the paint is wet. If the paint dries, that's okay. It's not going to stick in the paint very well. But then what you're going to want to do is, and of course I'm going to put my newspaper ads and stuff to cover up the backdrop, because I mean, that stuff comes in the mail, so it's free and it's cheap. I mean, free, you know, might as well, right? And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to spray over all of this with a glossy mixture. And because of that, I'm probably going to go ahead and put some painter's tape that Manny Fernandez sent me. Thank you, Manny. And I'll put that on top of the rails, so that way we can protect that. And then once we do all of that, we get it, you know, glossed in. Then we can look at building our trees. And I'm actually getting started on that project, and I will be working on a how-to video on how to put these trees, you know, how to make them, build them, and things like that. And I'm actually in the process of working on videos. So eventually we will get there. But other than that, this is kind of where I'm at as far as the layout goes. We just got another area with a little bit of color. And like I said, this is a little more visible than that back corner over there. And this is what I want you to keep in mind, is right about here where we have this print on the bench work, we're going to be 45ing off over to that corner right there. And these 1x4s that are just holding this corner up, that's just temporary. They will not stay there. So, yeah, we're going to come off at an angle. So, you're literally about at the edge. So, that's going to be kind of a good distance you know, back there. And of course, you know, we'll allow people to use step stools. This is the upper section, and it is literally chin level for me. So it's a real good eye level. So that's kind of where we're at. There's my ads that I've been using. So, and you can see we've got spray paint on it, we've got plaster on it, and this is protecting the backdrop. And that's the most important thing, is we want to protect that guy back there in the back. So, like I said, from here, that way is what I'm working on. Eventually I'll figure some stuff out going that way. I'm probably going to have to look at getting some static grass to kind of mimic the field. And then, yeah. So that's going to be a little fun to do. So, alright y'all. Well, other than that, that's all I have as far as the update goes. So, like I said, 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. If you want to learn about signaling, how it works, different types of signals, feel free to join me. And we'll go over that stuff. So, other than that, y'all be safe out there and happy railroading.